Alrighty, Monday, February 26th. Quick session recap starting off with ES here. Now, we came into the session wanting to see how price was going to be trading versus that prior day low and whether or not buyers were going to be able to defend that prior day low following what looks like a pretty large exhaustion bar on Friday's session. You can see that overhead wick. This is something I was talking about this morning during the pre-market prep live stream. Sellers had a good opportunity to force prices lower if they could show acceptance below that prior day low. So we come into the session, and what I really like to do on a session like this is keep an eye on that prior day structure, right? Especially if we are catching a bid during that overnight session, which is exactly what we saw. If you take a look at the overnight session, a little bit of a rally here into the regular trading hours open. However, one of the things I had pointed out and mentioned this morning was that we really wanted to see not only how price treated the prior day low, the 5,100 level of interest, but if a bid could sustain above this prior day structure point, 5110, and if it could, you're looking at 5120. Right, so we come into regular trading hours open. You have a bit of a bid there versus that prior session volume point of control. Right, you see it right through there, right around 5102. Gives a nice rally, nice opening drive type of trade that you can absolutely scalp if that is your play. Take a look where it gets knocked down. Right, just looking at prior day structure reference points. From there, that pretty much marks the high for the session. See prices roll over, retest that 5,100 area, right? There's an attempt to bid versus 5,100, but overall sellers just a little bit too strong. That bid there, that bounce had no follow through. So once that 5,100 area is gone, once that prior day low area is gone, like I had mentioned in the pre-market prep this morning, you want to be extremely cautious with any long trades in ES. I had mentioned that below 5,100, below that prior day low, price started to enter no man's land for me. And what that means is that there's no real structure through here that I can really lean risk on, right? And so I want to see 5,100 fail if that's going to be the trade. And if it does, I need some action down into that prior all-time high or that 50.75 level of interest with some type of bounce that is observable on the 15 or 30 minute chart before I try any other longs in ES. That's purely based on the structure that we see. Now, what was kind of interesting here is into the close, ahead of the close here, we did have some buyers interested in buying versus what I call the shallow fib retracement. 23% fib retracement from Wednesday's low up into Friday's high. That's kind of going to be a reference point. I'm not going to lean a lot of risk on a setup like this, on a level like this, treating that mostly like a reference point just to kind of gauge the sentiment of buyers as price starts to pull back into, that 2-day rally. Now, what I continue to look at for ES as we get into tomorrow is, again, like I said, that 50.75 and prior all-time high 50.66 level of interest. Zooming out a little bit more here, you can see the structure at play, right? It was a wide 2-week range. Thursday's gap higher somewhere through here, forced the daily breakout. Friday, an attempt to follow through, but mostly just saw that exhaustion bar on Friday. Now we have Friday's high and a lower high in the making there. So the question now is, where do buyers begin to step in? And again, for that, I'm kind of looking at this area right through here, 50.66 by 50.75, kind of the main zone of interest heading into Tuesday's session. And for that, what we can do is we can just go ahead and watch the action versus today's range, depending on how active the overnight session is. So for tomorrow, just looking at the action versus today's range, very similar to the approach that we had for today. That is 51.08 by essentially 50.78. So just shy of that main zone that I'm really interested in right through there. We'll see if overnight it tags that zone and then we start to potentially get a bid there. So that's it for ES overall. Slower action today, definitely, but if you're looking at the levels, you still have some solid opportunities to trade against. Two-way trading today, definitely, despite prices resolving lower, there were some decent bounce opportunities depending on what type of strategies you like to trade. As far as looking at long setups, NQ definitely offering better opportunities for today. Coming into the sesh, what I had mentioned I wanted to see, again, very similarly to what we talked about in ES, was how price traded versus yesterday's low. Look at the overnight action, right? Overnight action, you get that bid once again. Off of the open, coming from the overnight session, it had breached below that prior day low. Now you have the bid, and again, lean on your prior day structure when you can. Right through here, you get price kind of that initial rally, right off of that 18K level, that prior day volume point of control level, very similar, again, to what we saw in ES. And then sellers start to step in right through here. No real surprise there. Now it rolls over and you get a retest of that 17,965 level of interest is a really strong level, right? Prior day low, and beyond that, you do have structure there from Thursday. So we can lean risk on that level for the bounce. That was one of my better trades for the session. And then from there, price just pretty much enters a range. We see resolving lower here into the close, but essentially just enters a range. So you could treat it like an intraday range. No real trend in play for today, just trading the ranges, whatever levels you like to trade in that scenario. For me, it was the 18K and prior day volume point of control, as well as that prior day low. So overall, some solid action in NQ today, a little bit better than what we were seeing in ES, at least for the strategies that I like to trade. Now, as far as tomorrow's session with NQ, again, the setup is a bit different here simply because on Friday, NQ failed that daily breakout, right? There was an attempt for that daily breakout up through the all-time high there on Friday. Obviously failed in a big way. So now what we kind of want to see, I'm going to be treating this like just a 3-session range, right? What we kind of want to see is how price is going to be trading versus this 17,965 level of interest. Same level we're leaning on for today. If that fails, you're looking at 17,900, potentially 17,871. Right, I suspect buyers will be attempting to defend this area simply because there is a massive gap below, and we can kind of assess the action down here when that time comes. But very similar approach to what we're going to be looking at in ES for NQ tomorrow, and that is, how is price trading versus today's range. That is 17,965 by 1860. So some decent action there. Again, just respecting the main levels at hand as well as market structure. As far as individual names, it was a pretty short list. We have Coin, absolute monster today. Looking at a potential second day play, continuation play here tomorrow. We have Carvana. Alrighty, another killer one today. This was in the list today, looking for that strength. Pretty much just a copy and paste of Friday's idea. Strength up through 68, test 71. 76, hit almost perfectly. So what we'll look at here, now this enters again a 2-3 session range, right? With tomorrow potentially being the third day. What we want to see here is actually how price trades. If I get into 15-minute chart, let this update here in a sec. Yeah, we want to see how price trades versus this 2-session volume point of control here at 69. That is accumulation, right? Continue to focus on the longs there. Carvana. And then LI. Another killer one today with that opening drive trade. I had mentioned, we wanted to see this as a gap and go this morning during the pre-market prep. That's exactly what we saw. So perfect setup for the gap and go trade. Worked out nicely, and then you just have it slow drift into the highs into the close. Nice re-entry there at VWAP. So some good action in LI for tomorrow. We're looking at the second day play. Overall, good start to the week. Good start to the week. Some solid opportunities. Hope everyone had a profitable day. Good start to the week. If you guys have any questions, feel free to send me a direct message in the Traders Think Tank. Otherwise, I'll see you tomorrow morning for the pre-market prep live stream. Have a good evening. Later.